Hello, I'm John Proxy, and welcome to the Proximity. I'm having a Disco Elysium adventure, and it's 10:30. I'm going to talk to this dude here.
Here we go.
Moral.
Nice and easy. No way out, little guys. Not out of this jam.
I found the cryptozoologist. There's a cylinder on the ground in which the man is arranging some netting. It looks like some kind of trap.
Who's
He
there?
notices you.
Oh, the police. Hello, officer.
His self-conscious enthusiasm renders his movement ungainly. He looks like your understanding of a scientist.
The police? Why's the police here?
He's a crypto-fascist.
Don't worry, Gary. I'll handle it.
You must be Morel, the cryptozoologist.
To what do I owe the pleasure?
That's sarcasm. He takes no pleasure from your appearance. Lena sent me. She's been really worried about you and is waiting for you to get back.
Of course. Thank you for passing along the message. That damned waterlock is broken, and we can't go all the way around the 881.
The 881 is the raised motorway that separates Martinez from Jamrock. The labyrinth of streets underneath it makes it difficult to pass, not like walking over the nice waterlock. Yeah, that was me. I broke the waterlock with my motor carriage, but it's fixed now.
You
can
broke
go
the
back.
waterlock with a motor carriage? But there was a billboard in the canal. Not a vehicle, it said Samaran Butter.
No, it was all me. I caused you to delay, and I'm sorry. You can return
Did he
now.
say we can go back now?
Yes, Gary, we can go soon. If you see Lena, tell her I won't be long.
Sir, your wife is waiting for you.
I just have to do one more round. See if the phasmid has taken the bait. Then we're going.
He refastens a bit of netting that has come loose in the wind. His hands are large and weather-worn, but also used to delicate, precise work. All his passion, this man is diligent and patient. You could learn a few things from him. I'm looking for a suspect. Have you seen a woman with red hair who seemed to be on the run? I'm afraid of not, officer. I've been busy digging around in the reeds for days, looking for signs of insect activity. I'm less interested in the mammalian concerns, to be perfectly honest. The lieutenant takes a short note in his notebook and gestures for you to proceed. Tell me about this phasmid you're looking for. Well, first of all, it's damn difficult to find, which is why we've been knee-deep in reeds laying traps for it. What makes it difficult to find? Good question. Being a phasmid in the order of Phasmidoa, a ghost insect, it disguises itself as plant matter. In this case, the reeds. It looks around. Awful lot of reeds around, aren't there? And I suspect it may have developed other specialized techniques to protect itself from predators, or scientists, in our present case. What sort of specialized techniques is the phasmid using to hide itself? It's my hypothesis that it's evolved certain electrochemical defenses that allow to interfere with animal perception, impeding the pattern recognition, confusing the visual cortex. But I cannot describe how these defenses work, much less how they evolved without studying a live specimen. Yes, it makes perfect sense. You begin to suspect there's something paranatural about this phasmid. How big is this phasmid? I'm expecting it to be quite giant. One known species of phasmid known called the Mega Phasmidoa zoonosis, that's definitely not how that's pronounced, is about the size of a grown man's forearm, so he leaves the conclusion up to you. Seems puny, to be honest. Why are you so interested in the stick bug? Doesn't seem to be as colourful as some of the other cryptids I heard about. He flashes you a sideways smile. Typical rookie assumption. Insects are much more sophisticated creatures than the unversed in zoology give them credit for. Even simply catching a glimpse of the Enchelidian phasmid would be a apex of any cryptozoologist's career, but to study it and its defenses, find out how it stayed hidden for so long, he shakes his head, would be glory itself. What have you discovered about it so far? Very little, I'm sorry to say. No one's ever captured a specimen, so all our information is based on first and third hand accounts. So no one's ever found one. Not yet. He holds up an index finger. That's what makes it a cryptid. The lieutenant interjects, just out of curiosity. If there's no proof to its existence, how do I know it's real? I know it's real, the cryptozoologist says, brusquely enough that even he seems taken aback by it. It's clear that his obsession with the phasmid is driven by something more than pure pursuit of scientific advancement. By which I mean, he says, gathering himself, I've heard quite enough first-hand accounts to believe quite firmly that the Enchelidian phasmid is more than a mere superstition. Lena said there's been a sighting of it here in Martinez. Yes, of course, the most recent sighting was by a couple of teenagers along the coast here. That's what brought us to Martinez specifically. It's the first credible sighting in several decades. Admittedly, it's an unusual location for this species, but with all the sewage runoff upstream, it probably doesn't matter much anymore. Maybe the Enceladine phasmid has died out. The cryptozoologist shakes his head vigorously. I have to resist a thought. Such an extraordinary creature is doubtlessly highly resilient. After all, it's generally thought of to be capable of parthenogenesis. He means the asexual reproduction. The females of the species don't need to mate to produce viable eggs. This makes it easier for the species with a small population to survive. This arouses no special feelings in me. And it shouldn't. Nature doesn't concern itself with ethical propositions. As a scientist, my interest is strictly dispassionate. Tell me more about these traps. Well, he points to a cage of mesh and wiring on the ground. They may not look impressive, but Lena designed them quite cleverly, so I'm sure they'll do the trick. Lena designed the traps? Yes, he says with some pride. Yes. How do the traps work? Simple. Attracted by the locusts, the phasmid crawls down the funnel and, having eaten its fill, can't get back out. At least, that's the intention. The net isn't a perfect solution. We didn't want to use anything that might damage the specimen's delicate exoskeleton. What are you using as bait? Locusts. He gestures towards the trap. Nearly all known phasmids are herbivores, of course, but we've hypothesized that the Enceladine phasmid might occasionally prey on other insects. Inside the traps, a number of locusts crawl and tumble over one another in a tiny, chittering swarm. A meat-eating stick insect. Does it pretend to be the reeds as a part of its ambush behavior? This seems unlikely. The carnivorous stick insects seems unlikely. Thank you for your opinion. We have also included plant material in the traps to satiate your skepticism. Not a big fan of skepticism, this one. What will you do if these traps don't work? They'll work, I assure you. The predatory hypothesis using locusts as bait accounts for the failure of previous efforts by other teams. It's used plants. We have given this some thought. The traps do seem to be deftly and thoughtfully constructed. It's clear the cryptozoologist's wife knows what she's doing. Let me ask you about something else. Lena seems pretty eager for you to return, and I'm eager to return to her, I assure you, but I can't leave here before we finish with these traps. As he looks south, where Lena would be, my wife understands that just as well as anyone. Come on, Mom, we've been soaking out here for days. It's time to go back. And leave the traps. Absolutely not, he yells in response. I won't let Lena down. They're not very far away from each other. Come on, she wants us back. I'm soaked up to my nuts here. We'll both catch reed crabs if we don't dry out soon. Won't let Lena down. Sounds like a cryptozoologist's wife shares a special connection to the phasmid somehow. I didn't know the phasmid was so important to Lena. Of course it's important to her. She's seen it. A verified sighting on record. One of only 4 this century, and it's hers. Really? She sighted this phasmid? She didn't tell me that. Yes, that's how we first came to know one another. In fact, that's her story to tell, not mine. He coughs, then continues. Needless to say, you must ask her about these mysterious phasminoid. Suffice to say, it's been our dream to find proof of the Enceladine phasmid together. I can't abandon the course now. Another cough into his fist this time. Maybe you could go back to the whirling, warm up, come back to check the traps later. No. The traps need to be monitored on a regular schedule. What would we do if the phasmid were to starve while we were sipping tea at the hostel? He's dead set on this. I could go for some trap setting. How did you become a cryptozoologist? I just always liked animals and puzzles. Searching for cryptids is a bit of a both. He seems reluctant to talk about himself, but he'll open up if you prod a little. This is apparently a thing. For some reason I find this considerably less interesting than opening up a nightclub of speed freaks. But I shall do it nonetheless. I don't want to conclude yet. I do want to end the conversation and talk with him before I continue with the other thing. So you're living your childhood dream out here? His eyes narrow. It's not a child's play, just because I have to traipse through the mud every so often. What? Why not be a zoologist? Real animals are puzzling too. Real? He scoffs at the concept. I know you think one is a respectable profession, while the other is superstition. Everyone does. Honestly, being a cryptozoologist trumps most of the garbage I've seen people do. And a hum and a nod. My methods do not differ from other scientists. I simply draw from a wider variety of evidence, and I have more hope that something truly surprising might happen. And has anything truly surprising ever happened to you? I have yet to catch a cryptid, if that's what you're getting at, but I have come close. Interesting. Something for later, this close call. What kind of evidence do you use? Everything from forgotten regional lore to newspaper accounts, like the one that brought us here to look for the phasmid. I keep a very open mind. He's interested in things that people believe scientists don't. You think other scientists don't listen to ordinary people enough? Most establishment scientists only care about the reputation and remuneration, not real research, and certainly not the truth. They're cowardly lot. Both the field and basement archives can be dangerous places. You've never discovered a cryptid? No. Very few cryptid are ever discovered, not for a lack of trying. To stay hidden is a cryptid's primary quality, but it's even in the name cryptid. So how many cryptids have been found? Of the local cryptids kept by the Cryptozoological Society of Termini, by which 4,082 items long, about 2,000 have been confirmed as hoaxes. They are categorized as confirmed discoveries. 2 are categorized as confirmed discoveries. The rest are in differing stages of discovery, refutation, and data collection. Only 2 have proven to be real. Yes, the Chontaquan forest pygmy turned out to be an extinct species of primate, and a cave salamander from Yugograd, who is, honestly, quite unremarkable. It's in a zoo somewhere. We cryptozoologists are brutally honest with ourselves, more so even than the public. Those cryptids are hoaxes, or they are never found. That does not mean we should stop searching. Out of 4,000, it's not even 1%. Not approvingly, then the Enceladian phasmid will be the 3rd. Indeed. He does not smile, just looks you in the eye. It is a forceful gaze. If our expedition is successful, every paper in the world will report it. From Revachol to Do Shantou, it will be a zoological miracle. The hair on your arm stands up, electricity, like the reeds hissing. He's clearly done his math on this. There is no surprising him or swaying his opinion. Thank you for explaining that. Now about something else. I'll get going. I'm gonna talk to the other guy first. Oh, it's dark.
Hello, I'm Gary. How do you do, officer?
Bloody crypto-fascist.
Yellow man. I mean, officer.
I think I found your cup, you dickhead. Lieutenant raises his eyebrows slightly and takes out his notebook. Yellow man, interesting. This is something to ask him about.
I'm
After a
just
little
waiting
probing
for my
first.
friend Morel to finish up with his insect traps so we can return to civilization.
Not a lover of the great
I like
outdoors.
nature, just not this bloody coast. It's mostly drunks and degenerates that come here.
The word degenerate is a red flag. Degenerate, this man describes authority, respects authority too much to see the truth inscribed upon thine own visage. Pretend that thou art a paragon of virtue. Do I need to pretend him to be? I don't want to. Drunks and degenerates are certainly micro. I'm neither of those things, I assure you. By and by, the book's clean as a whistle, officer of the law. I'm not even tempted to touch intoxicants.
I've been tempted on occasion, but someone has to stay strong for Revachol.
It's Revachol? I thought it was Revachol. His gaze shifts to the pile of soggy logs at his feet. He pronounces Revachol with a hard K, unlike other people. There you go. You said Revachol. I like to pronounce it the hard way, the old way, the Vespertine way. He nods solemnly. Stupid way. He winks at you, trying to relay some hidden information, inviting you to mispronounce it too, perhaps. It's a secret rite, a very fringe nationalist handshake, probably. Yeah. Is this your mug? Hold up the yellow man mug. My mug? Why would you think that? His eyes widen at the sight of the mug. He's seen it before, right? It seemed as if you were calling to it, longingly, when you cried yellow man. Oh no, that's not... Why would I be calling to a broken mug? Alright, I believe you. You look like the kind of man who knows it's a crime to lie to an officer. Okay, I admit it. I threw the mug away in the trash container behind the hostel. I know I shouldn't have, and I'm very sorry, officer. He pauses. I don't want the money. I am. Whip out this fine slip for 20 real. Accepts the slip of copy paper with a bow. Okay, I deserve that. I won't do it again. You have my word. I don't know what got into me, stuffing my garbage into another man's property. Been having trouble at work lately. The coach co's are price dumping us out of competition. What did you do, Gary? Nothing! Nothing, just answering some questions, helping out the law. Here we go. Start pumping that sweet info. Yeah, like, if I didn't charge him, he would have been more suspicious of me, because I wasn't using my authority. How did you get into the trash container? I know a guy who works at the trash collection services, CS Municipal. He gave me a master key for the trash container of Martinez. Why would you need to get into everyone's trash? So I can use the Whirling's trash compactor to store my own stuff, he says, bowing shamefully like a fallen knight. Garbage disposal is expensive as hell. Damn Hymeans, run it like a mob. I'm sorry, okay? I thought I could cut costs. I shouldn't have disgraced myself. Disgraced? Lieutenant raises his eyebrows and looks up. No need for histrionics, sir. It was, after all, just a trash container. He studies his reaction. Gary does not answer. Gary, did you put the clothes of a murder victim, the man who was hanged behind the whirling and rags, into that trash container? Officer, please. He raises both hands. Let me explain. It's not like that. Like that? I was only cleaning up. I live right across the yard from where he was hanged. I saw him stripped naked, all the clothes lying around in the yard, smelling. People are animals, you know. Yes, what happened? Then I came out to clean up the rags because no one else would. Put them into the Whirling's trash, along with a broken mug, admittedly. Changes his mind mid-sentence. Okay, I was coming out to throw the mug away, and well, I threw the mug there and the clothes too. Right, it was civic duty. The lieutenant remarks drolly. Exactly. That's exactly what it was, civic duty. As he shifts uncomfortably, a series of clicks, like a clinking of glass beads against one another. They roll across the hardwood floor. I've heard this sound before. What's that strange sound? What sound? Don't mess with me, I think you know what you're talking about. I haven't the slightest. There's lots of weird stuff out here in the reeds, though. Insects, trash, could be wind shifting some garbage nearby. Every day, wind shifts the reeds and whatever was left in them. Tambourines and condom wrappers, plastic and glass bottles, smell of decay. Wouldn't know anything about the victim's missing armor, would you? Armor? No. Changes his mind. I mean, yes, of course, I know he was wearing armor, but I don't know anything about it. An infant could see he's not telling the truth, but he's too scared to admit more wrongdoing. There's something more going on. Should observe him more closely after this topic is concluded. Let's move on for now. I hope I could help your investigation. He's visibly relieved it's over. Give for cooperation. Let's put on some composure clothing. Because I can't upgrade my composure, so I have to do as well as I can. And yes, I have completely forgotten the composure items. The yellow, aren't they? So I don't... shoes and coat, I think it was. Okay.
Always a pleasure to see an officer of the law. I mean, officers.
Composure 8. The shirt looks very uncomfortable on him. Look at the buttons. Barely keeping that thing together, as if something is ready to rip out from underneath. Something worn underneath it? Yes, like a piece of ceramic armour, for example, one that makes a clicking sound when the plates meet each other. Meet? Resembling pearls or marbles, stolen from the corpse in the yard near where he lives. I see you're a connoisseur of high-quality combat gear. He freezes, then sighs heavily. I'm wearing, like, the gloves. I knew you'd figure it out, officer. I'm sorry I didn't tell you at once he unbuttons the shirt. You see gleaming white ceramic shine underneath. A thin layer of interlocking plates covers his gaunt torso. I was ashamed of what I did, and I didn't want you to know. Not detecting falsehoods, sire. He's giving up to admit the truth. Gary, what's going on? Later, Morale, I've got apologising to do. No, you've got explaining to do. The lieutenant's tone is icy. Give me that armour now. So, again, hangs his head and buttons his shirt fully. Curious, curious, I never know how to pronounce that word, that matches the dead man's boots comes into view. Soon it is in your hand, smelling of his sweat. So, light to hold, like a bag of cotton. Why did you really put those clothes in the trash? Everyone was picking those pieces off him, and I was watching them do it. They scattered his clothes all over the yard. Everyone was smelling. Looks at his feet. So I went there to take out my trash, started cleaning up all those rags on the ground, him swinging up there, and he swallows. A lapse of honour, sir. I thought he was a foreigner. They all say he wasn't from here. Only the cuirass was left, so I stripped it off him. It was early in the morning. No one saw me. Took it with me. It was a mistake. Had I known it'd give you guys trouble, I wouldn't have. Lips start quivering. Fuck. I'm detecting sincere contrition here, sire. He's not trying to flatter anyone. It's okay. The lieutenant just got something down in his notebook. The loose end, and you're tying up now. I'm so fucking sorry I called you Yellow Man, he says silently. Seolite officers commanded the suzerain's navy. Most of them sided with the king when... He shakes his head. They were thoroughly conservative men, he realises suddenly. Why did you lie to me, Gary? Because I was weak, he says, staring at nothing in particular. Should have told you the moment I saw you, but... The hell, Gary? You're in trouble? I'll explain later. He doesn't muster up enough strength to yell. You know who killed the hanged man? I always thought it was the Union. Some Union hard-asses lynched him because of the strike. But almost everyone in town knows that. Wish I could tell you more. He shakes his head. All he knows. Are we done here, Gary? Yes, absolutely. I will never do anything like this again. He looks around, relieved of some burden, his mouth still quivering. You know anything about the man hanged behind the dwelling in rags? I told you everything. I just took the cuirass, that's all. I promise I won't do anything like this again. It was too sad. This man simply did not know what he was getting caught up in. Are you a cryptozoologist too? No, I helped Morale with research sometimes. But I learned some things along the way. But I don't usually go in for picnics like this on my own. You were surprised to see my colleague, Kitsuragi. I'm sorry for what I said, he replies, then falls silent. Short means sincere in these things. Thanks for your cooperation, Eve. I keep expecting it to go light, but it's dark right now.
Yes?
Shivers? So shoes. And coat. Is it shoes and coat? But then I'm looking for shivers again. Pain threshold. -1 empathy. Okay, it actually is better. Because it's got more stats on it. Okay, I can't remember what has shivers on. I'm gonna... Purple, isn't it? Only two things. Minus one shivers. It's that, isn't it? Coat and it's those two? Okay, we'll come back. Check failure. Shivers. Yes! Suddenly there's a sigh, carried on by the molecules around you, moving, flowing from high pressure to low pressure, like that of a woman emptying her lungs. She wraps the collapsing stone box in front of you, in her breath flowing through it. Where does it go? In through the collapsed roof, flowing down a concrete staircase to the basement, sweeping away the footprints and the dust on the stairs. And then the beach below the boardwalk is winding tunnels, a whisper away. What is happening? She's down there. Say I think she's down there, below this building. Okay, why? Ever since I woke up, maybe even before, I've been getting these strange cold spells. Good, yes, cold spells. Seems incredulous. So basically your hangover is telling you she's down there. Yes, I can literally talk to my hangover. That's how bad it's gotten. Right, how do we get in, though? The doors were on the collapsed sides of the building. They're gone, basically. Finally, my time to shine. There's a ladder next to the sign. Point to them. Perhaps we can climb them, enter through the roof? Perhaps you can climb there. We're not climbing anything. I'm 43 years old, and I plan to live to see 70. There has to be a way in to use brute force. Climbing around sounds unsafe. Brute force is safe. Look around and find something to break in if the ladder fails. Oh. Yeah, I'm wearing like... I'm a police officer wearing like robot gloves, and he's like, "Give me the armor, please." There's the ladder there. We should finish our conversation first. I know this was the exciting thing. Drainage pipe. An old pipe peeks out from beneath the rotting boards of the floorwalk. Could this be an alternative path into the Feld building? A building like this must have multiple doors serving various functions, perhaps a basement access. Come closer and look in. Your eyes slowly began to adjust to the darkness inside the draining pipe. Lieutenant looks over your shoulder. What's in there? At first you can't make out anything in the darkness at all. Okay, what else? As your eyes adjust, you see some trash, crumpled up newspapers, cigarette butts, some half-heartedly spray-painted skulls on the side, and nothing. Broken glass from bottles thrown against the walls of the pipe. Could we get into the Feld building through this pipe? Given that this isn't a martial arts thriller, a grin flickers across his face, it's highly unlikely, and not without risk to our health either. However, the pipe suggests there may have been an entrance to the basement around. The lieutenant pushes aside the reeds and looks around. And it's right here, a maintenance door. He points to a rusted metal double door to the right of the pipe, obscured by the reeds. Huh. It's jammed shut. The subtle approach isn't going to work this time. I'll try physical instrument. You and the lieutenant lean all your weight into pushing the doors apart, but you're not quite synchronized in your efforts. They slam shut again before you can enter. The lieutenant leans back against the door, panting. Stick a breather and try this again later. It's very tough. That's the alternative way in, but it gets Kim in as well. And of course I can put on my physical instrument. I don't have any levels up. But physical instrument is full as well.
Hello, hello. What can I do for you, officer?
Let's talk about specific cryptids. He eyes you skeptically. Alright, what cryptids precisely? I usually discuss these things with specialists, so I don't know what we would want to discuss, he says he wants to say, but decides against it. You need to ask him about specific cryptids. Cryptids you've heard from Lena, or his friend Gary. He just won't talk. I know all about the kind green ape. Look, I even have a kind green ape pen. Take out the pen. I see, you've been talking about cryptids with Lena. He smiles. Kind green ape pen is one of her favourites. A warm wave passes at him. Of course, the kind green ape pen is her favourite, he thinks. We once travelled to South Safra to look for it once. Gary and I got stuck in a rainstorm, though, and had to spend most of our time there in a little village. The search was fabulously unsuccessful, but the people there were very nice. I'm glad they didn't understand what Gary was saying about them. What? South Safra? They were just on a different rung of the ladder, Morale. I had no problem with them. Really? You kept complaining how dirty everything is, but we digress. They're a nascent culture. I just didn't feel comfortable. And let's change this topic, okay? Talk about your critters or whatever. Mumble something. Yes, back to the cryptozoology. You don't want to sow disagreement between friends. I know the biggest cryptid, the giant of Coconut. That's impressive, I guess. It does not seem that you're that impressed. But have you seen it with your own eyes? No. Of course you haven't. He seems satisfied. Have you seen it? I haven't had the chance to travel to Coconut, no. I likely never will. The summer skilt. I like that we're being awarded for talking to Lena, and like I never finished those, which I will do when I go back the next day. But and I likely never will. The Samaskilt Desert region has been embroiled in the civil war for the last 8 years. I fear that this mindless barbarism may have wiped out the elusive creature entirely. Sightings of the towering luminosities have grown rare recently, while they once used to be a constant. Yes, sightings of mirages are constant. A mirage is a constant phenomenon that people have no time to report when a war is going on. It remains unclear what this has to do with you seeing it. As he was inquiring before, he was just being defensive. Which cryptid did you almost catch? You said before you almost caught one. A willow person. Long story. One non-specialists would find rather dull. Willow people? Not at all. What are willow people? They're not people, really. Some argue that they're not even animals, as they seem to have evolved directly from trees. He says it in a self-explanatory, everyday matter. They're very, very thin, almost flat. In fact, they can camouflage themselves easily, wrapping themselves around trees, blending in with the tree bark, in that way that they're not too dissimilar from the phasmid we are looking for here. Wait, I may have seen these willow people without knowing it. You probably have. How did you almost catch a willow person? Gary and I painted an entire grove's worth of trees in slow-drying paint. It was a bright lavender-coloured. I was hoping one of the willow peoples would get paint on it and not be able to camouflage itself. After waiting an hour, hiding in for hours, I saw a figure slip from one of the trees, lavender shadow dashing through the grove, and then I chased it with a net. Not very elegant, but you can't be elegant in the field. And well, it was faster than me. A lavender shadow. He smirks. I know you think we were snacking on funny mushrooms. It's easier to mock someone than to admit that the world might not be as interesting. Might be more interesting than you imagined. Furthermore, he raises his finger, I'm not saying that it was a confirmed sighting. I am painfully aware of what goes into verifying such things. There's a serious possibility I saw a squirrel or trick of the light. I am my own harshest critic. Makes it a real point here sound falsifiable. And Lena's sighting of the phasmid, is that? Confirmed, he replies quickly. It is 100% verified and meets all standards of authentic cryptid sighting. Tell me about a cool cryptid, any cryptid. No offense, officer, but I'm not much of a pedagogue. I know what I've done. If Lena hadn't persuaded me to go back to the field research, you'd ask her if you want interesting stories. Me, I'm not a people person, unless you haven't noticed. I don't make a good lecturer. My strength lies in fieldwork and persistence. Brushes an errant strand of hair from his eyes. This is a gruff man who's been ridiculed too many times to feel comfortable about talking what's dearest to his heart, even in his shoulders, his face, his everything. Enough tales then, let's change the subject. Did you know Gary was hiding the armour? Hell no, I had no idea, and I'm still cross with him, to be honest. It's not like him. He's got his quirks, but dishonesty, or disloyalty, are not one of them. Thanks, the man mutters in the distance. He doesn't dare say more. Still glad his friend stood up for him. What if we check the traps for you? He looks at you with obvious surprise. I didn't expect you to take such an interest in our work here, officer. I'm looking for someone hiding in this very coast. Looking for another thing may lead us to her. Why not? Lieutenant shrugs. At least it will give us an excuse to look into a lot of reeds. That's it. That it will. The man cracks an unwieldy smile. That it absolutely will. I hope you brought your good boots. What do I do if there's a phasmid in one of the traps? Bring it to me at once. Make sure the trap is closed tight. He's not comfortable with the possibility that you'll claim the find, but he's lying about this even to himself. What if I encounter... where are these traps? There are 4 in total. One is to the south, on this little peninsula, by the boathouses there. You point south, it's very near. Another we set in Land's End, to the northeast. Find a small sand dune there, on your way to the old radio tower after the church. The third is near the canal, where you are crossed by a concrete slab, a big thicket of reeds going by the slope, and among them, you gesture to a trap in front of them. You should check this at least one of those before returning to this one. Since I just said it, this one is more of a technicality. But still, better safe than sorry. What if I encounter this phasmid in the wild? That is highly unlikely, officer, but in the event that you do, he takes out a small white spray can. I'll spray you with this pheromone mixture I developed. It's made of musket and research chemicals. Their pheromones should attack the insect to you, or at least prevent it from bolting at the sight of you. Quite potent, it will last about a week. Lay it on me, thick. Present your armpit. He douses you with the odd-smelling spray, a double helping as you present your other armpit, and then gives you a satisfied nod. This is the smell of dying reeds, of longing crumbling into the water. Lieutenant wrinkles his nose. I hope you're not buying this. He dispenses it without letting you touch the canister, so it would be precious like holy water. Is precious. Single dose cost me 50 real to develop. Not that I expect you to understand self-financing one's research. He looks at the lieutenant with disdain and puts the spray back into his pocket. I'm ready. Let's get to it. Right. It means you two can pack up and go back to the whirling. Whatever he thinks about this detour, it's clear these men are exhausted and in need of assistance. Finally, someone's making sense. Thank you for your help. Gary and I will start breaking down the camp. If you have any more questions, now's the time to ask. We'll be gone once you get to it. No, that's the ball. I guess I should do that now. Check. I've said 2 fascist things. I'm never going to remember where all these things are. Okay, I know where the second one is. West of the Feld building. Do I do this now, or do I wait? Oh yeah, I've got to call Alice. I've got to sing karaoke! should come back here when it snows. Strange feeling. It passes quickly. Okay. Time is against us. My work started 4 minutes ago. I mean, to be fair, it actually doesn't start 4 minutes ago. It starts, relax, it's not yours. You didn't catch every MC in Revachol. Hopefully. Crash. The bike. He's talking about the bike. Yeah. This is the earliest possible time I can start work, but... No. I'm interested in that right now. Right now I'm interested in karaoke. Damn it, how do I get there? Well, I found one of the traps. There's a trap in the reeds at your feet. Looks the same as the one... Okay, look around. Reeds bent forlornly towards the sand. Some tufts have been crushed. The broken stalks seem like a rebuke. The sound of the city centre hums in the east. Constant distant song, louder on this part of the coast. Nearer somehow. And there's that cold again. Always the cold. Reach for the trap. Locusts are crawling around in the trap, confused but uneaten. You see no carnivorous reed phasmatic gorging on them. Big surprise, the lieutenant grins mirthlessly. Anyway, one down, 3 to go. No need to grin. I'm not expecting to find anything. I'm just helping some citizens and getting some fresh air. I meant no offence, just... Lieutenant doesn't know how to finish the sentence. Looks at you, putting the trap back on the ground. Okay. We'll have to do the traps at the start of the next episode. Or we sleep, certainly. But even before that, there's karaoke to be done. We may have to do the karaoke at the end of the next episode as well, I'm afraid, because I don't know how long karaoke is going to take. All around you, rain falls on the great city of Revachol. Rain drips from the eaves and floods of the gutters, washing the filth away. Spring thaw must be here. Snow is melting. What am I doing? Looking up at the sky, cold water's dripping from your hat. What do I see? Grey skies, like great battleships, clouds colliding with one another. Rain falls down on the world. How does it feel? Shirt sticks to your chest. Shoulders of your jacket grow heavy. Cold finds its way under your skin. You shiver. The city shivers with you. You're not dressed for this weather. You get an overcoat. Or patrol cloak. What's in the west? Sheets of the rainwater over the water. A flight of stairs leading into the ocean. Wave after wave washing the coast of Martinez. With it, motorboats and gently swaying reeds. The ruins of half-sunken sea fort crumble on an inlet. Beyond the bay of Revachol, ghosts rise into the sky. Who are you, ghosts? Skyscrapers of La Delta. The financial district. Faint golden light seeps from the office windows. Will you ever go there? Will I? No. You're just one of hundreds of thousands who watch the rise across the bay from Martinez every day. It's down from the shore. Urban coastline. Rain dripping off the eternite-covered roofs. Cinder blocks left over from half-finished construction. Defunct research and development building once seized by revolutionaries. Old wooden church stands on stilts above the water. Beyond that, the coal city. End of all lines. Run your fingers through your dampened hair. Your hair is an oily mess flecked with ash from neighbouring coal plants. Smoked stacked rise in the distance. What is in the east? There is a fruit on the corner. A plastic coat is folded in a small triangle under the counter by the window. Beyond that, the strike breakers have gathered. The great gates of the industrial harbour are locked. Chill runs down your back. You shudder like an animal trying to shake water from its hide. Shake your shoulders again. Shudder. Looking down at your feet, dirty rainwater runs veins into the plaza snow. Realize you have no shoes on. Your feet are red with cold. In the corner of his eyes, the lieutenant gives your feet a worried glance. Rain drips from his glasses. Cool. I'm in control. Lieutenant nods and looks east. What is there? Behind the gates, heaps of supply crates, red and blue metal shipping containers slick with rain. The greater Revachol industrial harbour, an artificial mountain range, immense wealth resides within, and immeasurable poverty in its shadows. And beyond that, Adjestrienne, King's Street passenger harbour, cruise ships flanked by dock arms, trains watching over the mouth of the river, distributary. What is across the distributary? Curon, the lower middle class. Distributary after distributary cuts the city blocks in half. 7-story buildings trail off into the rain. What is beyond the Curon? I cannot save game, we're going for all of this. A silvery curtain of rain over the houses. The class divide. You've never been there. They don't need draw the law east of the river. Oh, goddamn, I need to let you go. What is in the north? Capeside apartments. Tower blocks crowd one another. 4.46mm bullets still lodged in the torn stone walls. Hallways collapse from the mortar hits of war was lost long ago. Clothesline goes to waste in the rain. Radios play. Midnight news and reruns. Closer to here? The yard. The rain falls onto this roof of the woodshed. Lingering odour of decomposition mixes with that of the damp soil. And what's in the south? Traffic jams. Rain thrumming on the roofs of motor vehicles. Inside, drivers watch water streaming down their windshields. The statue of King shudder. He too is cold. Canal bridge has been raised. It's on the other side. Road ascends. A raised motorway loops above the ghetto. Beneath is concrete columns, sea of rooftops, woodwork. Tar stretches northward. 4-story buildings as far as the rain can fall. Snow melts in Jamrock. Where's the hood? Where the hood at? Where a brother in the cut? Where the hood at? Why am I not there? Be in Martinez, where no one goes, at the run-off point of the long-forgotten canal, in the whitest part of town, in the shadow of the day the revolution failed. What am I doing here? Standing in the rain, looking north, where Jamrock City stretches inland. Shudder. Look further. In the rain-swept distance above the rooftops of Jamrock, a repurposed silk mill stands perched above the motorway exit. Precinct 41 hunches in the rain. Your vision blurs. You wipe your face with your hand. The rain stings your eyes, making you look up and blink. It's because my shivers was leveled up. What's above? Coalition aerostatics hanged like apparitions under a cloud cover, way up there where the rain forms. Rotors flutter silently. Your sight clears. What's below? Collapsed storm drains, old sewage systems flooded with rainwater, hidden weapon caches from the revolution, doors leading down to La Roya Orme, catacombs to which for 3 centuries they delivered the blue-blooded dead. Motherfucker. This rain will not let up anytime soon. I recommend you put on your coat. Ooh, that took 4 more minutes than I wanted it to, but that was enjoyable, and I know it's because I leveled up my shivers, possibly because it was rain. So I'm going to let you go at the start of the next episode. We're going to do some karaoke, and then find some ghost traps. Thank you for watching.